we are in our open world. We're on the South Island, southern Gotham. Our open world is more than twice the size of that in Arkham City. It's broken into three main pieces. There's South Gotham, there's North Gotham, and then there's the Gotham Pioneer Bridge that connects the two together. Of course, there are other environments that you'll visit on top of that throughout the game, but that makes up the major landmass of our open world. Now, in South Gotham, obviously there are those gangs and those thugs that I talked about earlier. Their job, basically, is to kind of create chaos, to do the kinds of things that are going to put pressure on the city that the assassins think is going to lure Batman out. They then deliver the killing blow, they collect their $50 million, and away to Fiji they go. And so there's a really interesting element about this character, the fantasy of being Batman. One of the things that I've always sort of really liked about him. Why does he do what he does, right? Why on this night, with 8 assassins, the deadliest people in the DC universe trying to kill him, why does he go out into the open world? Why does he try and save this city? Why bother? Why not just stay home? Why not just sit in the Batcave and relax and, you know, wake up next morning and open his Christmas presents? It's because he is Batman, because he swore that oath to protect the city from the villains, from the criminal element that would prey on it, that would oppress it, that would take advantage of it, that he is willing to risk his own life. He's willing to sacrifice his own well-being, even in the face of these incredible odds, in order to go out there, stop these crimes in progress, keep these people from preying on the innocents, and generally do what Batman does. So there's something very special about that, and in an elegant way, it ties to the, you know, the kind of fantasy of a great open world game, right? You've got your main narrative, you've got your main objective, the assassins to defeat, Black Mask to find, but then in the world you've got puzzles to solve, you've got collectibles to find, you've got side missions to do, you've got enemies to defeat. That marries very nicely to the fact that Batman is going to save this city. He's going to become that Dark Knight, even in the face of the challenges that he's facing. So, at this point in time in the game, he has figured out, he thinks, where Black Mask is. And he's just completed a very important piece of detective work, using our all-new case file system to really put you, the player, in the shoes of being Batman and kind of cracking these cases yourself, figuring out who did it, why they did it, and where you can find them. So in order to find Black Mask, he needs this one last piece of information. And unfortunately, that piece of information is only available in the actual Gotham City Police Department headquarters. In their main servers is stored the National Criminal Database. And by hacking into the National Criminal Database, he's going to get the information that he needs in order to go out and find Black Mask. Now, I mentioned earlier, right, later on in his career, Batman would just call up Gordon and be like, hey, what's up, Gordo? Yo, check it out. I need this information. Gordon would give it to him. Problem solved. Everything's done. At this point in time, Gordon will shoot him or put him in jail if Batman, you know, so much as shows his face. So in order to get this information, he has to break in to the police department and steal the information. And this really kind of reinforces just how much at odds these two parts of the law are, right? There's law and there's order, and they have not yet made friends with each other. Now, in order to infiltrate the Gotham City Police Department, Batman is being encouraged to head back to the Batcave by his trusty friend Alfred. So let's jump in the Batwing and zip back to the Batcave. It'll give you a little bit of an opportunity to talk about the Batcave, to talk about some of the cool features of the Batcave, the relationship with Alfred, why that's important to us, before we head back into the open world and try and make our way to the police department. Now, when we first started development on Origins, one of the very first things we knew is we wanted to create the Batcave. We wanted a place that players would come back to, both for narrative as well as gameplay reasons, that gives you that fantasy of being Batman, and let's face it, the ultimate man cave, right? Like, this is the man cave we kind of all wish we had. I certainly know I do. It's just missing a really big screen TV. And so in the Batcave, there's lots of different elements. There's Easter eggs to explore. There's Alfred. There's a wonderful conversation system with Alfred where throughout the game you can talk to him again and again and again. He'll share knowledge with you. He'll share ideas, insights into you. Some little Easter eggs are there as well. There's also the workbench that we're going to make our way to in a minute that will allow us to get a new gadget called the concussion detonator that Alfred is encouraging us to use in our attempts to infiltrate the Gotham City Police Department. Now the reason why he wants us to get that, because like most Batman gadgets, it's non-lethal, and he thinks it'll be very helpful in dealing with the police in a way that doesn't leave, let's say, too much lasting damage. Now this is interesting. Alfred is telling Batman, don't hurt the cops. And Batman responds throughout the early part of this game, trust me, Alfred, I know what I'm doing, I don't need your help. There's tension there. This is not a relationship that is fully formed. This is not a kind of partnership that has evolved to the level that we know they eventually evolved to, where Alfred is quite literally Batman's most trusted confidant. And you'll see that playing out a little bit more throughout the presentation. Now, one other thing I want to talk about very quickly, in the Batcave, one of my favorite features is the training gym. So, we've talked a little bit earlier about Batman's evolution. He has to go from being just a masked vigilante to truly becoming the Dark Knight. Now, a lot of the players who are going to play this game, let's face it, a lot of them will have played Arkham City. And they'll have finished Arkham City 2 years ago, probably, and they'll be decent. They'll be very decent at the game. But one of the things we learned in creating this is just how few people understand how deep the free flow combat system is, how deep the Predator and the navigation systems are. They finished Arkham City, and then they even played it a second time, and maybe even they did some challenge maps, and they're still just sort of scratching the surface. They're not yet that black belt in being Batman or the true Dark Knight that we want them to be. We want players to be awesome at this game before they've finished it, so that they can have that sort of very empowering experience of being Batman right at the heart of these sort of central, meaningful events that are taking place in our game story. And so the training gym is a wonderful opportunity to do that. You go back to the Batcave, you set up a training challenge like one of those ones that's there helping you practice against a martial artist, for example, or another new enemy, or how to use a new gadget like the concussion detonator. And you practice, and in practicing you get experience points that allow you to upgrade your character so that Batman's evolution and the player's evolution are increasing in lockstep. Just as Batman is becoming the Dark Knight, the player's getting better and better at the game by practicing before they have to go out in the world and do it for real. Now, with the Batcave taken care of, with our concussion detonator acquired, let's jump into the Batwing, head back out into the open world as we make our way towards the Gotham City Police Department. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the size of the world here. I mentioned earlier it's twice the size of the map in Arkham City. If we look on the far right there, we see a ship. That's the final offer. We've talked a little bit about the final offer at a couple of presentations. There was some preview videos that went online a little while ago about the final offer. It's where you'll find the Penguin. It's where you'll have one major boss fight against Deathstroke. It's a wonderful location. We move further down towards the south. We reach the Gotham Pioneer Bridge. If any of you were at Gamescom in Germany, we showed a very small fraction of the Gotham Pioneer Bridge. It's where you will eventually encounter another one of the assassins, Firefly. If we continue on down towards the south, we move a little bit over to the east, we have the Gotham Royal Hotel. Two huge towers that rise way up into the skyline of the city, the most luxurious hotel in all of Gotham. This was the main focus leading up to the Gotham Royal Hotel, was the main focus of our E3 presentation, in case you saw that. And if we make our way down towards the south, at the far tip of the South Gotham, we see the Gotham City Police Department headquarters, and we will use a fast travel point in order to get access to that, using the Batwing, navigating our way over there, and then eventually infiltrate the GCPD. To the GCPD back in the open world, it's a great opportunity to talk a little bit about some of those specific features Tony mentioned earlier, and how we're using them in Batman. So let's start by talking about the snow. Nick, maybe just find a place with some snow. The Christmas Eve, I mentioned, the setting for this game, there's a big snowstorm that's blowing in. And having a city that felt like it was Christmas and that there was a snowstorm was really important to us for a variety of reasons. We really love the sort of emotional dissonance, the disconnect that's created by having the most wonderful time of the year, Christmas. Oh, it's Christmas presents, and it's turkey, and it's Christmas carols, and it's holding hands, and it's friends and family, and getting drunk, and all of that good stuff. But it's in the worst place in the entire world. And that sort of white on black creates some very wonderful emotional opportunities that we play with in this game, just to kind of put the players on ease. And so in order to help reinforce this feeling of winter, this feeling of snow and Christmas, we invested in this dynamic snow system. And it's particularly powerful because of the work with NVIDIA in order to have the truly deformable snow, the HBO Plus, the dynamic lighting that we have on the footprints creates a very sort of realistic and believable shadowing system on every footprint. When you're playing this game on PC, the snow actually is at different depths depending on whether you're at the rooftop, whether you walk into a snowbank, etc. And the footprints of Batman and the enemies as they're fighting, as you'll see a little bit later on, are all modifying the snow technology in real time. You'll also notice there's quite a lot of flurry action. As Batman runs around, you'll see this also later on if we get into a fight in the open world. As Batman's fighting, little snow devils are kicking up on his feet. Everything to help reinforce this idea that this is a winter time activity. This is taking place on Christmas Eve itself. Now, as Nick is attempting to infiltrate the police headquarters here, you'll notice that there are SWAT and cops everywhere on high alert. You'll notice this throughout the game. These people are on high alert because of events that have taken place earlier in the game, but nowhere is their presence going to be more concentrated than right in front of their headquarters, exactly the place Batman is trying to break into. So as Nick is trying to silently take out these enemies, I'll talk a little bit more about the character himself. Third-person action-adventure game like Batman, a lot of the time, Batman fills up a big chunk of the screen, right? You're seeing him from behind. He fills up, up to a quarter of the screen, depending on where our camera is positioned. He's a key asset. He's got to look the best he can possibly look. It was a wonderful opportunity to take some of this incredible new technology that NVIDIA has created, their rocket scientists, as it were, and invest that in something that seems like such a small detail. Batman's cape, right? But Batman's cape fills up a quarter of the screen throughout some of the experience, and so we wanted it to look the best it could possibly look. So using PhysX, using their new lighting system, HBO Plus, using all of the sort of, just in general, the physics, the soft body systems that they really sort of push the envelope on that stuff. The cape, when you're playing on PC, reacts in a very realistic way. The physics on the cape is absolutely to a next level. The folds and the materials on the cape look as great as they can possibly look. The way the lighting reflects the small details of the shadows and the reflections of the light on the cape are quite literally the best they can possibly look. So this is a wonderful opportunity to take something that might seem subtle, but that actually is, upwards of a quarter of the screen, and combine all of these sort of layered technologies and combine them together to make this one asset shine. Another thing I love to talk about, which unfortunately isn't presented on this particular rooftop, is the turbulence that Tony demonstrated earlier. I was talking about how there's smoke and fog, everywhere in a Batman game, right? Because of the ambience of a Batman game, you want that sort of heavy, oppressive, sort of foggy atmosphere. What's amazing is having that truly volumetric fog that responds to player action. To have a fight in the middle of a foggy environment where every punch that Batman throws, every time he swings his cape, you're actually seeing the true physics turbulence of those actions impact the smoke. You're seeing the little eddies swirl around, you're seeing the little snow devils and whatnot. it creates a truly immersive experience. The visuals are absolutely outstanding, and I wish you could see it right here on this rooftop. I wish I could just kind of click a button and drop a big smokestack in front of this, but unfortunately, this environment doesn't have smokestacks. So let's make our way into the GCPD and continue on through this objective, trying to find the server room and acquire this key piece of information we need from the National Criminal Database. Now, as we make our way down here, I'll talk a little bit back, away from sort of the technology, back towards the sort of narrative of what's going on here. The early career space of Batman is one we were immediately attracted to for a variety of reasons, but a key one was the opportunity to tell the foundation, the formation of some of these, quite frankly, most pivotal relationships in modern popular culture, right? I mean, Batman is absolutely an icon of popular culture, and the relationship that Batman has with Gordon, with Bane, with Joker are pretty pivotal relationships to Batman and pop culture in general. And our game is an opportunity to tell about the origins of those relationships. This is the first time Batman has ever had any significant encounters with Captain Gordon. As I said earlier, this game, they don't start out as friends, but having an opportunity to take them from a place where there's no trust, where there's animosity, where there's literal tension and friction between these two, and bring them to a place where we know they eventually get, right? A place of admiration, of mutual respect, is a wonderful opportunity. Now, right there, what we saw was Batman eavesdropping on a conversation with Gordon, where he was talking with his squad about the fact that even though on this night there are 8 assassins trying to, tear the city apart, their number one objective is Batman. That's their main focus. They think if they capture him, if they bring him to justice and put him behind bars, everything else will just solve itself. Again, reinforcing the fact that on top of the assassins, on top of everything else that's going wrong this night, there is literally nowhere to run and hide. Batman is being attacked on all fronts.
Dispatch! Bat is 1097. Cash! Oh, sick of this. Finish it! Learn this move.
Now, as challenging as it is for Batman to deal with, cops, it's a world he's familiar with, right? The thugs in the street, he spent the last 2 years dealing with that. Cops in the street, cops who don't like him, he's kind of used to that. He's had that for 2 years as a vigilante. What he hasn't had to deal with is what we're about to see in this next room. The arrival of the Black Mask, the bounty that the Black Mask has put on Batman's head, is a catalyst that changes everything. From this night on, things will never be the same for Batman again. It's a turning point where he goes from a world where organized crime and the cops is his number one threat to something completely different. Let's listen.
Well, you jokers were playing cleanup crew at Blackgate. I was making us some money. I worked out a deal with us about Black Mask. Pretty much can kill us back before the assassins get to him. We get the bounty. All $50 million. And for those of you who ain't too good with the math, that means we all retire early.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Let's take him down then. Yeah. What are we waiting for?
So that's Brandon. He's the head of the SWAT division, the most corrupt officer in the entire GCPD police force. And as he was saying, he's partnered up with Black Mask so that the SWAT division can get in on the $50 million bounty. If they kill Batman, they get it themselves. So clearly they're not going to play nice. They're not going to treat him with kid gloves. They're going to shoot to kill. And this is the new world order that Batman has to face as a result of the events of this night, where he's as likely on the street corner to find a cop gunning for his head or an assassin who's trying to kill him for fame or glory or money than he is a drug dealer or someone who's trying to, move some weaponry or something. It is a fundamental shift, a fundamental change in the kinds of challenges and consequences he's going to face on a day-to-day basis.
problems, pal.
Reminder to all units will be accepting donations and cards for Commissioner Love's family in the break room. Please come by and pay your respects.
So what does this disruptor of yours do?
Little bit of this, little bit of that. Mostly, though, it does a whole lot of none of your damn business.
Oh, you want to play it like that?
Not you again. Talk, or you won't be walking anywhere, ever. No way! You gotta answer for dropping me off that rooftop, buddy! No, you have to answer to me. How does this disruptor work? Ask one of the pigs! They got it in evidence lockup! How about we take a little walk up to the roof? Okay, you win! It jams weapons, overrides electronic locks, alright? Now you gonna let me go? How'd that work out for you last time?
So, this is an expression I'm fond of. When all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And at this point in time in his career, this younger, raw Batman very much holds true to that statement. He solves his problem with a level of violence and a level of aggression that is not necessarily carried over later on in his career, where he becomes more refined, more controlled. He's learned how to sort of funnel and manage the rage that he feels. He's not learned to master the rage, and there are lots of instances throughout this game where you see him applying a little bit more pressure, a little bit more aggression than he probably needs to, because it's an early career Batman, and that is who he was at that point in time.
We can work this out!
Priority 1 alert. All personnel be advised. 211 reported on the ground. 622 on the premises. Repeat, priority 1 alert. Intruder in the building.
Off your asses!
Just about to wrap up here with one final scripted event. Again, a little tease for some of you. This is not something that's been seen very far. It's a new character who plays a pretty important role in this game, which is Barbara Gordon. Let's just take a look.
Completely outside the system.
System is broken.
Barbara,
You missed her. Oh well. Trust me, Barbara Gordon is in the game. If you know the IP, if you know the character, you know who she eventually becomes, you know her role. She's the daughter of Gordon, and she plays an important role that you'll have to play the game yourself to see. Thank you very much. That's Batman Arkham Origins. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed